You hear it all the time. You must be confident. Confidence is the key. And so you look at those who seem to have it, and you think it is a gift, a genetic blessing, a personality trait you either have or you do not. This is the first myth, and it is the one that paralyzes more potential than any other. True confidence is not a starting point. It is a finishing point. It is not something you fake until you make it. It is something you build, piece by piece, in the dark, where no one is watching. It is the quiet residue of work done well, of lessons learned the hard way, of private victories that no one will ever celebrate but you. It is the opposite of arrogance. Arrogance is a performance, a loud show for an audience. Confidence is a quiet knowing, a private conversation with yourself that needs no audience at all. Think of a great tree. You see the strength of its trunk, the spread of its branches, the shelter of its leaves. That is the visible confidence. But beneath the soil, unseen, is a network of roots, twice as vast, twice as deep, reaching into the darkness for water and stability. This is the invisible work, the reading you do when you are tired, the skill you practice when it feels clumsy, the ethical choice you make when no one would know the difference. Arrogance is only about the visible tree, posturing in the wind. True confidence is about the root system. It is built in the dark. It is fed by what you choose when you are alone. This leads us to a simple, immutable law. Preparation does not merely meet opportunity. It creates opportunity. It manufactures it. When you have done the invisible work, your eyes see chances where others see chaos. Your hands are ready to act where others fumble. The world calls you lucky. You know the truth. You were in a state of preparation long before the so-called opportunity appeared. This is the first foundation of real confidence. It is the confidence of readiness, not the boast that you can handle anything, but the quiet assurance that you have trained yourself to handle what is likely to come. And what comes will often be pressure. Pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is your revealer. It strips away the facade and shows you what you have truly built. It shows you your patterns. Consider two people. The first faces a financial setback. Panic sets in. They look for someone to blame. They make a desperate, short-sighted decision. This is their pattern, revealed. It is a pattern of scarcity, of reactivity. The second faces the same setback. They feel the same fear. But they pause. They assess. They return to their plan, adjust the numbers, and take a disciplined next step. This, too, is a pattern revealed. A pattern of response, of faith in their own ability to problem solve. Which pattern builds confidence? The second one, of course. But notice, the confidence was not in avoiding the pressure. It was in having a pattern, a way of being, that could withstand it. Another example. A difficult conversation. One person avoids, evades, lets resentment simmer. The pattern? Avoidance. The other prepares, steadies their nerves, and speaks with clarity and respect. The pattern? Direct communication. Each time you choose the better pattern under pressure, you deposit a brick in the foundation of your character. You prove something to yourself. That proof is confidence. To build these patterns, you must protect one thing above all else: your focus. Your attention is not a renewable resource in the moment. It is the very currency of your growth. You must guard it like a treasure. Distraction is the thief of all progress. It breaks the chain of deep work required to build skill. It shatters the concentration needed to form a better pattern. Every time you allow your focus to be fragmented by the trivial, you are choosing to starve your confidence. True confidence is born in uninterrupted streams of effort, in the monk-like devotion to a single task until it is mastered. You cannot build a root system with sporadic, scattered effort. This effort follows a sequence. It is always the same. Learn, apply, evaluate, correct, persist. You take in a piece of knowledge. You immediately apply it, no matter how small the application. You look at the result with ruthless honesty. You correct your approach, and you persist through the cycle again. Arrogance skips steps. It learns and then boasts. It never truly applies, because application risks failure. It never honestly evaluates, because evaluation requires humility. Confidence lives in this sequence. It finds joy in the correction, because correction is growth. It understands that persistence is not a dramatic, one-time act of will. It is the quiet decision, after a poor result, to run the sequence again. This is why discipline will always be superior to motivation. Motivation is a feeling. It is fickle and fleeting. Discipline is a system. It is the decision to run your sequence, learn, apply, evaluate, correct, persist, regardless of the weather of your emotions. You do not wait to feel like building the root system. You schedule it. You protect it. You do it. Confidence becomes the eventual byproduct of that system. You start to trust yourself not because you feel great, but because you know you will do the work even when you feel terrible. That is a trust no motivational high can ever provide. And this process requires a strategic patience. You would not plant a seed today and be angry tomorrow that there is no fruit. You understand the seasons. Growth has its own timetable. Your efforts are the seed. The invisible root work is the sprout breaking ground, unseen. The first small results are the fragile stem and leaves. The mature skill, the tangible result, the true confidence, that is the fruit. It comes in its season. Arrogance demands the fruit now, with no respect for the seasons. Confidence tends to the garden daily, knowing the season for harvest will arrive if the work is consistent. Your frustration is often just a misunderstanding of what season you are in. Are you in the planting season, the weeding season, the waiting season? Do the work of the season you are in, and you will not fear the arrival of the next. But how do you know if you are on the right path? You must measure. You must seek feedback, not the applause of the crowd, but the quiet feedback of reality. The numbers on a spreadsheet, the clarity of a written plan, the insightful critique from a trusted mentor. Confidence is not afraid of measurement. It seeks it out. Arrogance hides from metrics, because metrics reveal the truth. You must have the courage to look at the gap between where you are and where you said you would be. That gap is not your failure. It is your teacher. The correction you make based on that measurement is the steering of your ship. A ship that is never corrected drifts forever off course. And here is where the magic begins. Momentum. The flywheel effect. At first, pushing that massive flywheel is exhausting. You push with all your might, and it moves an inch. You push again, another inch. This is the invisible work. But you stay consistent. You run your sequence. You apply discipline. You respect the seasons. You measure and correct. And then, after 1,000 pushes, a shift occurs. The flywheel's own weight begins to work for you. One push now creates 2 rotations. Momentum compounds. The efforts of yesterday are leveraged by the efforts of today. This is the physical law of real confidence. It starts slow, and hard, and lonely. Then it begins to feed on itself. The small proof leads to a slightly bigger risk. The success of that risk leads to a stronger pattern. The stronger pattern handles greater pressure. Each victory, no matter how small, is fuel for the next. Then comes the breakthrough. But you must redefine what a breakthrough is. It is not a single, dramatic event. It is a lifestyle. It is the emotional elevation that comes from knowing your own pattern of victory. It is waking up with the certainty that you can handle what the day brings, not because you are special, but because you are prepared. Not because you will win every time, but because you know your system for getting back up. This is the confidence that needs no arrogance. It speaks softly because it does not need to prove anything. It is generous because it is built on abundance, not scarcity. It is calm because it has weathered pressure before. You build it one day at a time. One disciplined hour, one protected focus session, one honest evaluation, one corrected mistake, one more push on the flywheel. The root system grows in the dark. The trunk thickens, slowly, imperceptibly. And one day, you will stand in the storm, and you will not wonder if you will break. You will know you will not break, not because of the wind, but because of your roots. That is true confidence. That is your birthright, not as a gift, but as a construction project. Now, you must pick up your tools. The first tool is your decision. The decision to begin the invisible work. Today. So you make the decision. You begin. And immediately, you will face the ancient enemy of all great endeavors, the fluctuating mood. This is where you must make your second crucial decision. The decision to choose discipline over motivation. Do not trust motivation. It is a fair weather friend. It will abandon you the moment the work becomes difficult, the moment the results are slow, the moment you are tired. Discipline is different. Discipline is a system. It is the agreement you make with yourself, written in the ink of action, that you will run your sequence, learn, apply, evaluate, correct, persist regardless of how you feel. Motivation is about how you feel in the moment. Discipline is about who you are becoming over time. Confidence is built on the bedrock of discipline. You start to trust yourself because you know your system is stronger than your mood. You know that at 8 o'clock, you will be at your desk. You know that when you fail, you will evaluate, not evaporate. This systematic approach removes the drama. It makes building confidence a predictable process, not an emotional roller coaster. This systematic work must be tempered with strategic patience. We live in a world that screams for instant results, but nature does not work this way. A farmer does not plant in the spring and then pace the field in frustration every afternoon. He understands the seasons. He does the work of each season and trusts the process. You must adopt the same mindset. There is a season for planting, for learning, for laying foundations. There is a season for cultivation, for practicing, for adjusting, for weeding out bad habits. There is a season for growth, where progress becomes visible, but the fruit is not yet ripe, and only then comes the season for harvest. Your frustration is often just a sign that you are trying to harvest in the planting season. You are trying to demand confidence before you have put in the confidential work. Ask yourself, what season am I in right now? And then, do the work of that season. Do not rage against the timeline. Respect it. Work within it. Your steady effort, season after season, is what builds an unshakable confidence. It is the confidence of the farmer who looks at a bare field in winter and sees not emptiness, but the promise of what is to come, because he knows he has the seed and he trusts the process. But trust in the process is not blind faith. It is informed faith. It is corrected faith. This is where feedback and refinement enter. You must become a scientist of your own life. You must measure. Arrogance avoids measurement because it fears the truth. Confidence seeks measurement because it craves the truth. You must have clear metrics, not vague wishes, but clear numbers. How many hours of deep work? How many repetitions of the skill? How many conversations initiated? How many pages written? Then you must look at the results with ruthless objectivity. This is not self-criticism. This is data analysis. The gap between your result and your target is not evidence of your failure. It is the most valuable information you will receive all day. It tells you what to correct. It tells you where your system has a leak. This cycle of measurement and correction is the steering wheel. Without it, you are a ship adrift, hoping the wind will blow you to a good destination. With it, you are the captain, making constant, small adjustments to stay on course. Each correction is a deposit into your confidence bank. You are proving to yourself that you can learn, you can adapt, you can respond to reality. And as you do this, day after discipline day, season after patience season, correcting your course with careful measurement, a powerful force begins to work in your favor. Momentum. The compounding effect. It is the flywheel. At first, you push with all your might, and it barely moves. That is the hard, lonely work of the beginning. You push again, and again. Each push stores energy. Then, after a relentless series of pushes, the weight of the flywheel itself begins to aid you. Your past efforts compound. One push now creates 2 rotations. What was once a struggle becomes fluid motion. This is the law of momentum. A small victory makes the next victory slightly easier. A skill mastered becomes the foundation for a new skill. A pattern of discipline in one area of your life begins to spread to others. The confidence you built by keeping a small promise to yourself gives you the strength to keep a larger one. This momentum is what turns the slow, arduous build into a breakthrough. But understand, the breakthrough is not a single event. It is the moment you realize the flywheel is now spinning under its own power. It is the moment you realize you are no longer pushing with desperation, but guiding with authority. This is the ultimate goal, not a single breakthrough moment, but a breakthrough lifestyle. A lifestyle of emotional elevation. You are no longer at the mercy of your environment. You are shaped by your discipline. You are guided by your systems. You are refined by your corrections. Your confidence is no longer a question. It is a fact. It is the quiet atmosphere you carry with you. It allows you to listen more than you speak, because you are not desperately seeking validation. It allows you to celebrate others, because their light does not dim yours. It allows you to face colossal challenges with a calm heart, because you have proven to yourself, through 1,000 small battles, that you can endure, you can adapt, you can persist. This is true confidence. It is built without arrogance. It is forged in the furnace of daily practice. It is refined in the quiet moments of honest evaluation. It is compounded through relentless consistency. It begins with a decision. It is sustained by discipline. It is directed by measurement. It is accelerated by momentum. And it culminates in a life of quiet power. The tools are in your hands. The sequence is clear. The seasons will pass regardless. The only question that remains is this: will you begin today to build the root system? Will you make the first push on your flywheel? The confidence you seek is waiting for you not at the finish line, but in the very first step of the work. Take it.